Howdy there, pipe pals and gals. Well, greetings, pipe pals and gals. Hope all is well with you. Well, today I'm making a third video for the month. But first, the housekeeping. I found my Paul. I found my Paul, my Joby Paul, and in it I'm smoking some Northwoods in honor of the brave Canadian truckers. Yes, again, we're going to talk about another Canadian video here. Don't you know, eh? But there was one thing I think I've neglected to share with you. Oh, and at here at my other elbow is my just some decaf coffee. I never was a decaf coffee person. For some reason, I always used to get really bad headaches when I would drink decaf. And I think I shared that in my last video. But I think that was because I was actually going through caffeine withdrawals. But now the caffeine withdrawals this is like day 6, day 7, post my actual, leaded coffee. So this is just good old-fashioned decaf. And as far as flavor and something to drink, it's still quite satisfying and quite delicious. I wanted to also talk to you about one of the things I neglected to share with you last week. If I can even get this open now. Oh my goodness. What the heck? What the heck? Oh God. This is ridiculous. I wonder if somebody was messing with this. Well, anyway, you got to gently find a way to unlock that. It's I don't think that's an unopened one, is it? Okay, there we go. Little trick I learned. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to talk about this McBaron's, this Scottish mixture, which I did smoke last video, was because that's not bad. That is not bad. Okay, the reason why I'm excited about this is because it's not a bad blend, but I think I got this over a year ago, and I opened it and I think I might have had 1 or 2 bowls out of it. And unfortunately, as we all know, pipe pals, if it's not properly cellared, it's going to dry out real fast. And now I'm not saying it's the same moisture. Well, it's not bad. Anyway, what I did, I've done this before, and maybe I put it in the wrong department in the refrigerator, but normally it just dries out even in the refrigerator. Well, when I came back to this a year later, last week, and I opened it up for the first time in over maybe about a year, it was still moist, cold. It was cold. But I was kind of delighted to see that keeping it in the refrigerator for an extended period of time. Now, I don't think this would, work something indefinitely, but I think it's not a bad idea if you're going to be maybe smoking a mixture and you're going to maybe be coming back to it time and again for a period of time. It might not be a bad idea that you could also get away with putting it in the crisper. Or this was actually, I think, in the meat department, the meat compartment in the refrigerator. So it seemed to work. It seemed to work well. Anyway, so there you go. Let me just get this going. So anyway, obviously I'm back again. Today is February 18th. And I have to tell you, and some of you probably won't be surprised. Some of you will be maybe even glad. I hope not. But for the most part, as you see, I'll play the video,
One
a
side
little
we
bit
have
of the
the
video.
police, and the other side
There
we
was this
have
big
the
standoff, of course. It was
that's
inevitable
created a
for the
chain
truckers there in Ottawa, near Parliament Hill.
in protection.
And I was watching it live as it was happening, and the YouTubers that were the live streaming guys, and you know, I have nothing against them, but I have to say that they're going to take, they probably need to take a school in journalism, because you know, the one guy kept saying, "Oh, I'm going to get hurt here. I'm going to get hurt here. I got to leave. I got to go. I got to go. I got to," you know. And I felt like going, "Guy, I don't care. You know, if you're going to be live streaming like a real, you know, journalist or photographer, combat photographer in some ways, felt like that. I don't need to hear you." He was getting over emotional. I mean, I understand he's not a professional, but at the same time, it was very frustrating, because he would then, you know, he would show you this scene of the cops coming and the protesters scurrying, and all of a sudden you'd hear him say some expletives, and he'd go, "I gotta go," and he'd turn around and run. Now to his credit, he did run back, you know, maybe a few hundred feet, and then he turned back around and keep filming, but he kept talking about how scared he was, and you know, how he's going to have to maybe leave and stop the live broadcast and the streaming, and you know, I've got to. I even said I have to look out for myself, you know. And I just thought, you know what? In fact, I actually turned off his channel. I went to another channel, which was, the other guy didn't seem to be as panicky. But you know, on one hand, it was good that we had the live streamers out there to at least chronicle the event, providing their footage doesn't get confiscated now. But anyway, I was very disappointed. I was very upset. I was just, there came a point I had to, around 12:30 and 1 o'clock, I had things I had to do, you know. And I said, I just got to turn it off. You know, it's just that I didn't care. It wasn't that I didn't care. It was that there was nothing I could do. And it just looked like it was just, you know, obviously the protest was coming rapidly to an end. Now, I came home 4 hours later, only to turn on again another guy, the same guy who I had watched earlier, who was very frustrating. And he was the only live streamer that I could find. So I thought, well, maybe I just want to get some information. And sad to say, you know, there was a lot of people. It looked like they were still down at Parliament Hill, or at least very close to Parliament Hill, and a big crowd of people. But I was trying to figure out, well, what happened? I mean, 1 minute, everybody is scurrying and fleeing and trying to, you know, not get arrested and not get accosted. Some people, I guess, got accosted. Anyway, the long story short was that then all of a sudden now you see another crowd of people. And it was like, well, and I kept trying to tell, you know, the guy was live streaming. I said, tell us what's going on. Because he kept just kind of like, he just wasn't really reporting anything. He just was just filming. And I understand that's what some of these guys do. But at the same time, it would be really helpful if they would explain what we're watching. You know, were these people arrested and are being in a holding containment thing? Or were they free citizens still roaming about and joining a protest? I mean, I couldn't figure out what it was. I even said, hey, tell us what's going on. Give us an update. The guy, of course, you know, he was having multiple people, you know, text him, chat in that live chat thing, so he probably didn't even see mine. But I was frustrated. So I found another guy, and then I started watching it a little bit, and I said, well, I have no idea what's going on one way or another. It's very confusing at this point. Apparently, some of the leaders of the trucker movement have been arrested, you know, and it just... Anyway, it's just, and then the little cherry on top, is that, again, it would be like here in America, the president just can't declare war and start sending the nukes over, you know. There has to be some approval of Congress and the Senate, you know. The legislature has to approve all that before you really can enact something, right? So Parliament conveniently didn't sit today, and so the police seem to have it's like, well, we got kind of like a blank check here, you know. Thank you, Parliament. And so they went off, and that's when they. It was just really, it was very heartbreaking to see. A lot of people, you know, are, I think, very saddened, if not devastated. Maybe devastated is too hard of a word, too heavy of a word to use at this point. I don't know. Some of the people that I have watched, you know, they're kind of like, yeah, they're shaking their heads, but there was almost like, well, we told you so, kind of. We told you so. So Canada now is, for all practical purposes, a dictatorship, thanks to, you know, this bozo here. Yeah. Don't have a whole lot of respect for that individual. Kind of like I don't have a whole lot of respect for this, you know, this clown. Okay, you know, these are the guys. I mean, I just went and got some gas today. I've been avoiding the gas pump like I've been avoiding my tax guy. You know, it's like I don't want to you know, deal with it because I know it's going to be a bad thing to have to look at. It's going to be painful. And sure enough, it was. And I realized that it's almost doubled. It's actually probably, and now if I had bought the gas in the state of California, I'm lucky. I'm still, you know, we still have some civil liberties here because it could very well be within 6 months that they'll start closing the state borders. And unless you are vaccinated, you can prove that, or you can prove whatever you have, you know, a need to go into the other state, you know, they could very easily do that. And then, and at the rate that what we're seeing happening in Canada, the dismissal of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, it's no longer beyond the realm of possibility that here in America we could see our civil liberties come to an end. And but anyway, going to the great state of Nevada, I was able to fill up my tank, and so yeah, it probably would have been almost triple. Well, at least well, it would have been, yeah, it would have been way over above than what I paid. What I paid in Nevada this time was extremely expensive for me, you know. So, but again, it's Biden and Trudeau and Macron and Xi Jinping, or Xi Jinping, sorry. That these people are globalists, and they're out for a one world government. It's kind of like communism lied dead for not dead, but dormant for a while, and now it's coming back. It's coming back with a vengeance. It's like COVID. You know, it's like communism. You know, it's like the new variant of communism, and it's more virulent and more aggressive and more lethal. But people seem to choose safety and security over freedom. And I think that we've seen that played out over time. You know, it's so funny that, you know, Trudeau, it's funny. He's actually amassing individual power just like this other guy. I'm not supposed to say it, so I won't say it, but maybe a picture's worth 1,000 words. I mean, all you got to do is a little bit of history lesson, folks, and you'll know that good old Uncle A, he did the same thing. He basically accreted a lot of power unto himself and made himself basically the supreme dictator. And it didn't take long either. Now look at what Justin Trudeau has done. It's incredible. I mean, it's like, and especially Canada, you know, because Canada's always been known as, when I say liberal, I don't necessarily mean, you know, like dope smoking hippies, you know, liberal. I mean people that really did believe in civil liberties. You know, and like, hey, you can't force me to do that. You know, you can't force me to go to Vietnam. You can't force me to do this. You know, okay. You know, if you had a proportionate reason to say thank you but no thank you to your government, the government was at the time the last place, I think, in Canada, even in Canada, to force its citizens to comply into compliance. Not anymore. Those days are gone. You know, take your Charter of Rights and Freedoms and you might as well use them to line your trash can or your bird cage or your cat box. Gotta say, that's pretty good. So still holding the faith there in the true Northland, the true North there, Canada there. So I'm pretty discouraged right now. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to lie. But in wars, and this looks like it is a war against globalism, one world government. In every war, there are many battles, and some battles you win, and some battles you lose. And we have been kind of gaining a lot of ground, I think, as far as this, populist movement of, individual rights and, celebrating the sovereignty of your own nation and things like that. But unfortunately, the powers that be, the people that actually wield the power right now, they are they are holding on to it with a death grip, and they're not going to let go anytime soon. No way. I mean, this whole idea of not only freezing the assets of people who actually participated in the trucker convoys and the truckers themselves, but people who were rallying, and now I can't believe this. Even if you donated, say $20 to help them, with the fuel or food or whatever, that's a humanitarian thing at that point. But now they're saying, I guess it's that Vice Premier Freeland lady saying that, even if you donated, your assets also could be frozen. Excuse me? You're going to tell me that I can't give to a political cause of my choice now? Obviously, that's true because the things like GoFundMe and Give Send Go or give me whatever, give me money, whatever those online giving things are. They were co-opted by the government. And they basically said, sure, we'll give you all the records of the people that gave. Sure, we'll help you freeze all these assets. We'll make sure that they don't go to the intended people that they were originally designed to go to. Yeah, we'll make sure that happens. Man, I gotta tell you, it's dark days. It's dark days. But it's not over. It's not over yet. Fortunately, and the one good thing, I actually was praying as I drove down to Nevada side of the mountains today. And it's a nice drive, and sometimes it's good to get away and kind of just turn everything off for a few hours because it just gets overwhelming. I mean, there's nothing you can do except just feel like you're just totally helpless. So it was good to get some fresh air, see some beautiful scenery, even though it hurt a lot to get my truck filled up. Got some supplies, which I needed to do. But yeah, there's like I said, you're going to have victories and you're going to have losses, and that's just inevitable. It's just part of that struggle. So, it'll be interesting to see how everybody, regroups, at least in Canada right now. In America, they are talking about following the Canadian truckers' example and doing one here. Now, after today, I don't know. I don't know. Americans are kind of funny people. Canadians are, I have nothing but respect for those Canadian people that were standing up for their freedoms. Now, one of the sour things that is going to come out of all this, and I saw it on one guy's site, and he has every right to, share his opinion. But apparently some of the leaders that were there in Ottawa pulled out in the dark of night, or they pulled out literally maybe an hour before it all got ugly. instead of standing with, everybody. And the plan was to say, okay, we're going to stand here peaceably, and we're going to let the police arrest us. One of the little gals that was in charge of the GoFundMe part of it, they found her last night. Now, somebody said she was drunk and disorderly. I don't know. She didn't look drunk and disorderly to me, but then again, she seemed pretty passive, pretty peaceable, pretty compliant. And she just smiled and turned around and said, cuff me up, She didn't cuss them out, didn't flip them off, didn't try to scratch their eyes out, nothing like that. She looked like a little kid saying, okay, you need to stand over here by your yard duty teacher. And she goes, okay, and she just turned around and let them cuff her up and took her to the car. But apparently some of the other guys, and I don't know who they all are, there was a guy named Pat King who I guess got arrested. So nothing he can do, once you get arrested, you're done. But I am grateful, at least up until right now, tonight. It's, okay, right now in Ottawa, it's 3 hours ahead, so it's like getting close to 10 o'clock there right now, their time, Ottawa time. But fortunately, there was no loss of life today. And I thank God for that. Thank God for there was no loss of life on either side. Of course, I say one thing. The thing was, here's the thing. This whole thing was like taking a shotgun to kill a mosquito. I mean, the use of force was ridiculously unnecessary. And I'm hoping, again, that will be another black mark against, Brando. Yeah, Brando. Instead of Brandon, go Brando, Trudeau, Brando. But anyway, just incredible. They had, you probably saw from the video I played earlier, not just the line of cops at the front, but there was ranks of other police officers behind those guys. So, completely unnecessary. Because up until, except the legacy media, it was, saying all the trash. It was funny. They just kept the trash talking points about the convoy, about the movement, about the protesters. I think I might have said this in my last video. Clearly, the people that had it was just the one swastika flag and the Confederate flag. And they were plants. Because what did Justin Trudeau do the next day, or was it Monday of last week? He led off with, we don't stand with people flying Nazi flags and Confederate flags. And it was like, somebody clearly was sent in there as a shill, as a plant, just to give him a talking point. That's all it was. And it was, and to know that those guys were there to bring discredit upon the movement. Everybody knows that's what they were trying to do. And it's like, come on, guys. There was one of those flags, and then what somebody, like I said last video, had marked swastikas on maybe a Canadian flag and was waving that around. But and the Confederate flag guy, we're not going there. But anyway, those things were just they were just quickly filmed very quickly, just so he would have a talking point. See how vile and evil these people are. The other thing is that the Emergency Measures Act was never really fully debated, and before they could even implement it, it has to be voted on, and before it can be voted on, it has to be discussed, and they clearly, appropriately enough, conveniently enough, I might add, didn't meet today. So, if you study a little bit of World War II history, and I'm not, a lot of times we try to make allusions to Nazis and Hitler and all that stuff, but okay, let's just say dictatorships. This guy is acting like a dictator, and there is a video of him. Now, again, I don't think it's phony. Well, that was a phony video. He didn't really say that. Well, apparently he did. He said he admired the dictatorship of China. He actually used the word dictatorship. He said, I admire the dictatorship of China. And everyone's like, what? And he goes, let me explain. You know, it was like, and his whole thing was, in a dictatorship, when the government needs to move very quickly, then it does. Meaning, you know, and he wants to go completely fossil free, I guess. He wants to, you know, he wants to make everybody gay, I guess, you know. The whole world, you know, is going to be LGBT, you know, don't you know? Sorry if I offended some of you out there, but I'm just tired of people forcing their philosophies of life onto everybody else, and then not having the common courtesy to say, well, let's at least we can agree to disagree. Those days are gone. If you disagree, you're going to be in trouble with the government. This is what has been proved today with the trucker convoy. If you disagree with your government now, you will become an enemy of the state. This is all dystopian stuff that we all thought was all science fiction and that'll never happen. Well, guess what? It happened today on February 18th in Ottawa, Canada. And I'm just like, I can't believe this is happening. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, I saw some people on one of the news stations kind of like saying, oh, too bad for Canada, but that would never happen here. Don't you bet on it. It's already happening here. Now, fortunately, we are having some people starting to stand up, but it might be too late. Might be too late. So, all I can say is, you know, God bless the truckers. And so what's the next move? Well, the way I see it, those of you who care about my opinions. And let me just stop here. Pipe House. Let me just stop here. And now I haven't checked. In fact, I uploaded another video a couple days ago. I haven't checked the comments yet. And I normally respond about after 24 hours because I like to if there are going to be a number of comments, then I can all kind of respond all at once, you know, not having to go back and forth. So that's why I kind of give it a day or two. So it's been about 3 or 4 days since I uploaded that video and haven't checked it yet. So if I owe you a comment reply, I'll get to you maybe later tonight. After I upload this video. But I want to thank those of you who watch, and you know, I'm always amazed and I'm always grateful when a lot of people say some very, very kind things, positive things, encouraging things. Every now and then I'll get a troll, you know, kind of a ugly troll that'll pop up, and I'll just kind of go, oh, that's interesting. And I'll get a few people who might take umbrage with what I say or take exception, and they'll tell me their point, and I'll go, oh, okay. And if I feel that I can, without inflaming, you know, making inflammatory and snarky comments, I'm not above making snarky comments. When somebody gets, I mean, I'm getting better at not responding like that, but there's every now and then I have, on occasion, I'll say some snarky things back. You know, it's I know it's not probably very helpful, but at the same time, it's just like, hey, you know what? I'm going to give you the same kind of courtesy you gave me, which is none. So here you go. But for the most part, you know, I try to be civil, and most people, I think, that are, you know, trying to have meaningful dialogue are civil, and I respect that. Okay, you don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with whatever it is I say. You know, again, I make these videos primarily because I enjoy the hobby of pipe smoking for the most part, and I like to, you know, light up a briar and share that fun with you and enjoyment. And listen to some really nice music, whether it's classical or later in the evening they play jazz, and as you know, and some of you like that too. And I don't think because I'm not monetized, so I don't think I have to worry about the background music playing. If I was, you know, playing it as a soundtrack, I think I'd probably be in real trouble. But other than that, I think it's all good. But I just wanted to take another opportunity to say thanks to people that, you know, do drop me comments and, say hi and tell me what's going on in your neck of the woods. Your Northwoods, that is. And so I really do appreciate that. So anyway, real quick, I'll bring this to a close, but I'm just going to tell you, my thought is the next step for the truckers in Canada would probably be something along the lines of, okay, now again, if the Trudeau government is going to literally come after them and take away their vehicles, their insurance, freeze their mortgages, that's just, I guess gulags are next, folks. I'm sorry. I guess that's the next logical step for this government. And that's not hyperbole. No, it's not. But if the truckers do retain ownership of their vehicles, and the majority of them. Now, if they're going to go after every single one of them, well, guess what? I don't know about you, but I sure don't want a whole bunch of untrained drivers out there on these big rigs. They're dangerous enough as it is, and they'll even tell you that themselves. Okay, it's not a job for the. It's a hard job. It's a hard job, and you really need to know what you're doing, especially on the roads and byways of Canada, because of the ice and the snow and the weather up there is it's a lot more harsh than it is. Well, of course, now people in Minnesota and Michigan and North Dakota and probably Wyoming are laughing at me right now. Okay, yeah, but I'm just saying that you don't just take away the trucks, Mr. Trudeau, and give them to a bunch of novices. That's a great idea. Yeah. This just keeps going from bad to worse, and I mean, talk about clown world. Elect a clown, expect a circus. So anyway, I think the next move for those that retain their vehicles and don't have to go to prison or the gulags, but that's a scary thought. This is not beyond the realm of possibility, pipe friends. Because now they've got a group of people that they have villainized, and now they're going to punish. And what better way to do that, to not only punish them, but make an example to everybody else, is put these people in some kind of a gulag. That could happen. I just got one of those chills. I went up and down my spine. I went, uh-oh. Because, okay, look, from what we've seen in the last 3 weeks from this man-child, and now that he has accreted all this power unto himself, he probably could. And I will be pleasantly surprised if he does not do some form of some kind of a concentration camp for these guys. I'm serious. I'm just thinking it out to its logical conclusion. What we've seen now, what we've seen happen today, the dispense of the charters of rights and freedoms of individuals. And one of the phrases that I just absolutely love, and I think was this Brian Petrie, or Petrie, or Petford. I'm probably getting the name wrong, but you know who I'm talking about. He's one of the last living members of the actual drafters of that Charter of Rights and Freedoms. But one of the things that he had said in one of a talk, he said, "You are equal under the law." That is a powerful statement. It's a powerful reality, but that has been now swept aside with Justin Trudeau's Emergency Measures Act, which is actually also doesn't meet the criteria. There are like 4 or 5 or 6 criteria that have to be met in order for that to actually even be implemented. And he's already implemented it on his own initiative, his own authority. Forget Parliament. Who needs Parliament, right? But if the Canadian people will come to their senses and just tell Mr. Trudeau he needs to go, maybe he needs to go to jail. So anyway, I'm sorry. As I was thinking this thing through, I'm going, well, it's not beyond the realm of possibility that he could actually open up, he would call them maybe re-education centers, but it'd be the same thing, gulags, concentration camps. But anyway, so the truckers that are still free to make decisions and still keep their rigs and everything, I could see it happening where maybe the next logical step for them would be to go home, park their truck, and just turn off the engines and just wait it out. Again, that could be, that could have, I think these guys have been a lot more smarter than we give them credit for. And I'm thinking that they probably have already have like contingency B, C, D, you know, because you have to do that. These guys really made a huge, huge effort. And I don't think that they would have just blithely got into their trucks and said, oh yeah, here I am in British Columbia. I'm going to drive to Ottawa. Yeah, sure. Nice day for a drive. You know, don't think that's, no. They had to think this thing really through long and hard. And don't you know that there are contingencies, because they knew that this day would probably come. Probably a little bit later than sooner, but at least they got some good coverage out of all this. They got to move the needle a little bit, okay? With some of the suspensions in some of the provinces, they did good. They did really good in that regard. So, but I'm sure that even though they, you know, before they ever got in their trucks and started on the road, you know, they had a plan in place. You know, okay, here's what happens when this doesn't work. If this doesn't work, we go to plan B. If this doesn't work, we go to plan C. You know, we have contingencies. We have kind of like a plan that will, okay, this will like be maybe the 3-week plan and the 6-week plan and the 9-week plan. This is what we're going to do at these critical junctures. And so it's been about a little over 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So okay, they came to the end of the first plan. Now they'll move on to plan B, right? So we'll see. We'll see what the next steps are for both Clown World and the truckers. So, but I got on here tonight because I just wanted to just kind of share my thoughts and feelings of what's going on. And you know, there may be a few people say, well, you know, those people, they were, you know, look, folks, whether you liked it or not, or you agreed with it or not. You know, compare this protest with BLM and Antifa stuff. You know, there were no broken Starbucks windows, or, sorry, Canada, Tim Horton windows. You know, there were no burning buildings. There were no overturned police cars. There were no assaults on police precincts. You know, there were no people that were actually murdered on the streets. You know, there was no violence of that nature. Well, I take that back. There was some violence. They had those bouncy castles, and those kids were all, you know, doing the face paint stuff and playing games and stuff. That's pretty violent, I know. That needs to be met with lots of force. But anyway, that's beside the point. Okay. All right. Don't confuse me with facts, folks. And the thing is that I've noticed that from these people that do the walk around videos, Ottawa, I guess they're still on some kind of a lockdown because you don't see people out on the streets, and you know, and I think it's because of lockdowns. So I think that's why you saw all the protesters and you didn't see regular citizens, because the citizens are all locked in their houses or their apartments. God bless them. So anyway, but they certainly have made a good start. They did a good stand. As sad as it is to see them being forcibly removed by the government like that, I think it's going to be, I'm hoping freedom-loving people everywhere will, when they think of the name Trudeau, it'll be like something else, okay? That's what I'm thinking it's going to be, okay? That's what I think of when I hear the word Trudeau, you know. Can you say Trudeau? Excuse me. Anyway. Okay, my pals. I think I'm going to sign off for now, and who knows? I might be back tomorrow. I just don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Okay? So thanks to all those who watch, and if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, that'd be wonderful. You don't have to. And if you have a difference of opinion, that's fine. If you want to respectfully leave a comment in the old sand bucket below, then do so. So until next time, Holy Smoke and Pipe Padre saying, light up your world, light up your pipe, and we'll see ya soon. Take care now.